I am a doctor who can save any life, but at a price that would make a saint scream. I have made a terrible mistake. This is my final testimony. I am standing trial today, but not in any court you recognize. There are no lawyers here, no cameras, no jury of my peers. I have built this courtroom within my own mind. I am the plaintiff. I am the prosecutor. I am the judge, the jury, and the executioner. I already know what my sentence will be. But before the blade falls, I must bear witness against myself. I was once the chief of pediatric oncology at V Hospital. To the world, I was a hero. To the grieving parents, I was a god. But my downfall began 10 years ago, on a night so cold the air felt like broken glass. I had just been appointed as an oncologist. I was young. I was arrogant. I thought I could outrun death. Then, a 6-month-old infant died in my arms. Leukemia. In my field, death is the wallpaper of the room. But this was the first time a child had stopped breathing on my watch. Do you know what that's like? To watch a body turn traitor. To hear the wet, labored rattle of a human being who hasn't even learned to speak yet. To smell the stench of decay in a living creature as healthy marrow turns to poison. We have the technology to reach the stars, yet I stood there, powerless, watching a baby march toward an open grave. I am not a religious man, but that night, I saw the devil. He was wearing the face of a carcinoma. I left the hospital in a trance. I walked until my scrubs were soaked with freezing rain. I was in a state of total psychological collapse. I wandered into an alley, a place that shouldn't have existed, between buildings I didn't recognize. It was silent there, the kind of silence that feels heavy, like it's pressing against your eardrums. And then, I saw him. He was a smudge against the brick. A man so unremarkable he was terrifying. His clothes were rags. His face, it blurred when I tried to look at it, like a liquid veil was being poured over my eyes. I wanted to run, but then he looked at me. His eyes were coppery. They reflected the light like a predator in the dark. He didn't just look at me, he read me. He saw my shame, my ego, and my grief, and he smiled with a sympathy that felt like a needle under the fingernail. I found my voice. Who are you? He didn't answer. He reached into a tattered pocket and pulled out a glass vial. It was filled with a clear, oily substance. With a slow, deliberate motion, he pricked his finger with a pin. A single drop of his blood fell into the vial, clouding the liquid in twisted, hungry patterns. He shook it until it turned the color and consistency of pus. He held it out. His voice sounded like a car engine dying in the mud. Anoint, he whispered, and they will live. I was a man of science. I didn't believe in miracles. But in that dark alley, surrounded by the smell of wet dog and ozone, I let myself be weak. I reached for the vial, but I stopped. How? I whispered. How does it work? The man coughed, a spluttering, wet sound. A price is paid. What price? He met my gaze. One befitting. Years later, I would lie to my wife. I would lie to my colleagues. I would tell myself I didn't know what he meant. But I knew. I knew right then. There is only one currency equal to the gift of life. I took the vial. The man's voice turned soft, almost a warning. Tell no one, or the debt falls to you. Not everyone understands the price of miracles. He turned the corner and vanished. I walked back to the hospital. I thought I had suffered a psychotic break, until I felt the cold, unblemished glass of the vial in my pocket. It was weeks before I used it. A 4-year-old girl, bone cancer. At night, her screams woke the entire ward. We had pumped her full of so much poison her skin was translucent. The tumors kept rising up, one after another, like a sick joke. She was hours from death. I didn't struggle with the ethics. When I saw her small, bald head dotted with sweat, when I saw her collarbones jutting out like axe blades, I didn't care about the price. I opened the vial. The room filled with the smell of rotting berries and spoiled milk. I spilled one drop onto her forehead. The liquid sank into her skin like a gas. Her face relaxed instantly. For the first time in 2 years, she slept without morphine. The next morning, she didn't just wake up, she leaped from the bed. She ran to her parents. They wept. They called it a miracle. While they celebrated, I went to the records room. That same night, in the same building, an old man had died of sudden heart failure. He was 68. He had been admitted for a simple diabetes checkup. No history of heart issues. He had a wife and 5 children. At the exact second I poured that drop, his heart just stopped. What would you have done? I told myself it was a fair trade. 10 years of an old man's life for 70 years of a child's. It was simple math. So, I kept going. I made nightly visits. I saved the unsavable. The hospital chalked it up to experimental treatments. Humans are funny that way. We'd rather believe in a lucky drug than a terrifying miracle. I was promoted. I became a star. I was the doctor of last resort. But the bodies were piling up. I stopped looking at the names of the coincidental deaths. I turned a blind eye to the grieving families in the other wards. I told myself I was a hero. But in the dark, I knew. I was a serial killer with a stethoscope. Then, it came for me. My oldest son, Leo, was 10 years old. He was my shadow. He had my eyes, my intellect, my love for medicine. He used to sit in my lap and read my textbooks, his little face scrunched in concentration. He collapsed on a Tuesday. My younger son, Toby, found him. Toby was only 4, a quiet, sensitive boy. I can still hear Toby's screams echoing through the house. He fell. Daddy, he fell. Leo's blood was failing. His red cells were tearing themselves apart. We went to every specialist in the country. We tried everything. Toby even donated his own bone marrow to save his big brother. It didn't work. Nothing worked. The doctor sent us home with a bottle of liquid morphine and told us to make him comfortable. I felt the vial in my pocket. It had grown heavy, like it was made of lead. I had sworn I would never involve my family in this filth. I didn't want to stain them with my sin. But watching Leo thrash in pain, seeing seeing his eyes roll back in his head. My convictions shattered like glass. That night, I crept into the boys' room. They shared a bunk bed. I could hear Toby whimpering in his sleep on the top bunk. He'd been having night terrors ever since Leo got sick. I stood over Leo. I pulled out the vial. There was one drop left. Just one. I let it fall. It splashed on his forehead and vanished. Leo's breathing slowed. His face smoothed out. He fell into a deep, peaceful sleep. I sat in his desk chair and wept with relief. My boy was going to live. But in the silence of the room, I noticed something. Toby wasn't whimpering anymore. The top bunk was silent. Too silent. I stood up, my heart hammering against my ribs. I reached up and touched Toby's hand. It was cold. I fumbled for his neck, pressing my fingers into the soft flesh, praying for a pulse. Nothing. The price had been paid. The vial didn't take a stranger this time. It took the only thing I loved as much as Leo. I don't remember the hours that followed. My wife found me cradling Toby's body, screaming at the ceiling. The paramedics called it a freak brain aneurysm. Just one of those things, they said. A tragedy. I buried my youngest son while my oldest son grew stronger every day. Every time Leo hugs me, I feel the ghost of Toby's cold hand. Every time Leo talks about becoming a doctor, I taste the rotting berries of that vial. I couldn't live with it anymore. I have destroyed the vial. I smashed it with a hammer in the same alley where I found it. It didn't put up a fight. It just shattered. Now, I am finishing this testimony. The man in the alley warned me, tell no one, or the debt falls to you. I am telling everyone. By reading this, by hearing my voice, you are completing my sentence. The debt is coming due. I can feel it already. A tightness in my chest, a heaviness in my blood. The doctors will call it a stroke or a clot. They'll say it was the stress of losing a child. But you and I know the truth. To Leo, if you ever find this, I am sorry. I traded your brother's life for yours. Your soul is clean, but mine is a wasteland. Do not follow me where I am going. There is no forgiveness for what I've done. I don't want it. I will pay my debt, and that will be enough.